Welcome to the 7 game-breaking mechanics in Rainbow Six Siege. It's the mechanics that, if you're a pro player, you've been abusing these systems for a long time, or learned to play against them or around them. But if you're kind of new, if you're kind of in the middle, or if you're a seasoned vet but have been out of the game for a couple years, kind of like myself, it's always good to get a good refresher. So this guide is definitely aimed at those people. But even if you're a pro and if you know this is a well put together video, straight to the point, and I'm going to try to make it entertaining for you guys, so definitely not going to be a waste of time. And I will say that I both play controller on console mainly, but I also know how to play keyboard and mouse on PC, and I do both. And I also know the big differences there are between them two, and I also do know the majority of the player base is on console. So anytime during this list there are kind of minute differences, I will call them out.
What killed the dinosaurs? Number 1!
Were you thinking it?
Yeah, well, you said it.
Speaking of the differences, the first thing that I wanted to talk about is leaning left and right mid-fight. Now, this is definitely a habit and also a mechanic. In most games, when I play FPSs, I like to, in the middle of my fight, randomly crouch. When it's a game like Halo, there's definitely more of a science to it when you would want to do that. You count the shots. But in Siege, not only could you do that, crouch in the middle of a fight to throw an enemy's aim off, you also have the ability to lean left and right. And not only that, when you lean left and right, your aim actually stays precise. So if you're on keyboard and mouse, you see this all the time, the leaning left and right spamming non-stop, because it just keeps moving your head around so the enemies aren't able to headshot you right away and miss a lot of shots. The developers over the years, like 4 years ago, they tried to counter this by making sure that you have a penalty the more you lean left and right. So you lean left and right a lot slower as you do it more often. However, a huge difference on console is that you can't simply tap the buttons. Your lean left and right mechanic is on the joysticks, the ones that you use for your movement and for your aim. So when you're actually pressing down to lean left and right, you're actually throwing your own aim off. So you have to be a lot more deliberate when you do this. You can't just run into the room and start spraying and spamming. You actually have to think about when you're going to be popping out of cover, popping back into cover, and using those moments to throw the enemies off.
He ain't lying.
And speaking of that, the next mechanic I want to talk about is kind of along the same lines. It's the extra quick peek. And it's the quick breakdown on what a quick peek is. Quick peek is when you're about to turn a corner or lurk into a room, instead of just simply running out there and then deciding to take in where everything is, enemy traps, enemies themselves, you actually quick peek for like half a second, a quarter of a second, an eighth of a second, whatever the fastest amount of time you could like gather all the information from looking there and then going into cover. You don't quick peek with the intention to shoot. Quick peek just to gather information. Now, there is a way to do this quicker than simply moving left to right. You could actually time your lean when you're about to push out of the corner, in this case to the right, and then lean towards to the left to get back in. This actually lets you quick peek 2 times faster, saving you a lot of frames and also taking advantage of Peeker's advantage, probably one of the biggest game-breaking mechanics in the game. So what is Peeker's advantage? This is a thing that is prevalent in every single online game. I don't care what anybody tells you, Peeker's advantage has always existed. However, most games aren't a one-shot headshot kill, so it's a lot more prevalent in a game like Siege. So let me illustrate something that's happened to you many a times playing this game. Have you ever been looking at a door or a corner waiting for an enemy to pop out, and then all of a sudden you die and you think to yourself, I guess I got flanked. And then you see the kill cam and a guy literally walked into the door frame you were looking at, took a good second to look at your head, aim, adjust, take a sip of his coffee, and then shoot you in the head. And you're like, what the hell? I did not see him at all. This is Peeker's advantage. So how does Peeker's advantage work? I put together a graphic to help you visualize this a little better. Now imagine that there are tiles A, B, and C, and these are just different positions a character could stand on. The yellow square with stripes is just the wall. Now let's say Cade is standing at tile C, holding his aim, looking around the corner, waiting for an enemy in tile A to push out to tile B. However, what Cade doesn't know is that Ash is about to use Peeker's advantage on him. Now, before Ash even moves out, there is a thing called a server tick, and a tick is a unit of measurement. To keep it simple, you could consider a tick a half second, although it is a lot faster than a half second. But back to the example, Cade and Ash are both standing still right now, and one server tick happens where they send their information from their computer and their internet to the server that's hosting the match, and another server tick happens when the server takes that information that they gathered from players and sends the information to the other player. So since both players are standing still and not moving, during the server tick, everything is actually aligned. In the moment that Ash actually steps into tile B, there is a server tick tick where Ash sends her information from her computer or console to the server, and then another server tick that now takes Ash's new information of where the character is and sends that out to Cade. However, since Cade did not move at all, Ash doesn't need a new server tick to register where Cade's body positioning is right now, meaning Ash actually has 2 server ticks of time where Ash could actually act before Cade even knows Ash moved. And that's just how it plays. The real basic ways to counter this is obviously play on servers with good ping, so you know, things that are native to your region, getting a monitor with a high refresh rate, making sure you get all the hertz that your computer could spit out, and then just getting a beefy computer with good frame rates, right? That's the actual way to tackle that specific problem. It'll help, but it won't eliminate it completely. So, taking advantage of this, if you know that there's an enemy about to push around the corner, you don't want to just be standing there holding your gun. You actually at that point want to start quick peeking in and out of cover, but in this time actually pre-firing or with the intention of shooting an enemy there, knowing that he's going to come out. So you kind of want to be the aggressor in these situations. Now, I'm not saying be the aggressor and run around the map all the time. I'm just saying when you know there's an enemy around the corner and he's about to push, you want to be the one that comes out first. Again, without exposing yourself to like a million other angles and his other teammates. So, you know, you still got to play it smart. So that's how both you take advantage of it and play against it. It's really just being a little bit more aggressive and just being aware and anticipating. And pre-fire. Speaking of pre-firing, this is another game-breaking mechanic, and you could say this is more of a habit, but it really is a mechanic because you could only apply this habit because of how the game works. And when I'm talking about pre-firing, I'm also talking about pre-aiming, putting your crosshairs where the enemy's head will be. Let's say you're looking at this door. The enemy could either pop out one of 3 ways: standing up, crouching, or laying down. More often than not, they're going to be standing up because they're going to be wanting to apply that quick peek and, you know, quick strafe and all that kind of stuff. So what you want to do is pre-aim where the enemy's head might be. And this is not only when you're watching doors, this is also when you're approaching corners. And this does take a little bit of more map knowledge, but if you know where all the doors, where all like the little pieces of cover are in certain rooms, certain objectives, definitely learn the objective ones, since, you know, that's where the games revolve around for the most part. And you're just turning corners, aiming where the enemy could be, and sweeping rooms that way, right? Like, don't run out into the hallway, exposing yourself to 4 different angles. Push slowly where you put your crosshair where, right before you turn the corner, where one enemy's going to be. Then you push out a little bit more, but your crosshair's on the next piece of cover. And then you adjust your crosshair to the next piece of cover and push out a little bit more. Never exposing yourself to all the angles, clearing them one by one. That is a pretty game-breaking mechanic. And obviously it's a mechanic because player models and player characters and their stances are what they are. So you just have to take advantage of that, of where they are going to be. And a little trick that helped me learn how to put my crosshairs is, let's say you're playing defense or whatever, you know, look at your ally kind of standing still or doing whatever, and look at what item next to him by a door frame is kind of at head level. And that allows you to kind of see for next time when there is no ally or enemy there, where your aim should be, so when the enemy does pop up, you're ready. And the next game-breaking mechanic is, what if I were to tell you you could see the future? What if I could tell you you had wall hacks and you could know where the enemy is? Wouldn't that be a game-breaking mechanic? Well, that's exactly what a drone is. And of course, in higher pro level lobbies, this isn't an issue, but in lower level lobbies, this is such a hard habit to beat into people. Drone out, always drone out. Why not take advantage of one of the most powerful mechanics in the game? You could just simply drone out out of safety, know where an enemy's gonna be, while maybe an ally's watching a doorway or something. It's gonna force them to move, it's gonna force them to make a mistake. These are things that allow you to get a free kill and take advantage. It's so hard for attackers to actually win rounds. You know, on average, that's actually a statistic, that you have to actually use every little advantage possible. So please, drone out. Game-breaking mechanic. It's illegal. It's a legal mechanic. Use it. And one of my favorite mechanics definitely is rappelling upside down. I've won so many rounds and get so many kills like this that I just don't think people understand what's happening. I see so many people rappel like normally where their head peeks out from the bottom of the window, but you're not taking advantage of what makes rappelling upside down so good. Imagine being able to see an enemy before he sees you. But unlike with a drone, you're actually able to shoot him before he sees you. That's what rappelling upside down does. Because if you're rappelling upside down and just putting your cursor where an enemy's feet might be, not their head, that means when an enemy's walking up to the window or walking down through a hallway, they can't even see you by the time you actually see like half their body, and it's really that broken. Trust me, rappelling upside down, great. And if you start doing that often, then you start running into objectives where you're like, huh, that's unfortunate. There's a reinforced wall between the window I'm rappelling and the objective. Oh, take an ace, take a Hibana. Oh, there's a bunch of softballs or whatever, take a Zofia. Oh, there's a bunch of cover where enemies could hide through, take a Capital. There's this hallway where a roamer, if they go around, they could get me, take a gridlock, throw some tracks, block the tracks, you know, block the road, whatever. And if you do it enough, you're obviously going to know that there are going to be runouts that people could get you from. So take some claymores. It's really that simple, and you actually really start playing more mind games when you do it. And the last game-breaking mechanic is communication. Call out and don't say on my X. It's better than nothing, but man, you just got to learn. You got to learn. Yes, you don't need to know the actual name of the room that you're in. game designers, especially in Siege, they did a great job. They made sure to put an iconic item in every single room in the hallway. So even if you don't know the name, you could be like, hey, there's a piano here. There's somebody at piano, second floor, right? Be specific with the floors. Basement, top floor, middle of the map, front door, back door, you know, metal stairs, red stairs, yellow stairs. You know, you could just look at colors on the walls. You know, the bull, the shark, restaurant, right? The bar. It's like, these might not be the official names, but they are identifying markers. And, you know, I get it. In the heat of the moment, it's tough, but please call out, because even if you say my ex, the last thing you want to do is for your ally to stop watching a door, to turn around to look for your ex. And in a classic Siege moment, the moment you stop looking at a door, that's when the enemy walks in and pops your friend too. And you just cost yourself 2 lives, yours and your allies. And those are 7 game-breaking mechanics in Rainbow Six Siege that I'm glad you know now, because now you're guaranteed to win every single round. And if you don't, it's your teammate's fault. It's not yours and it ain't mine. Make sure to go check out these other videos where I break down some of the best defenders and attackers in Siege and actually give you some basic and pro level tips on how to play them. Until next time, amigos.
Yippee-ha!
Yep, that was the sound effect.